The universe may whisper lies, but God's truth shouts through the silence. My dear friend, what if I told you that everything you've been carrying, every weight, every doubt, every moment you felt invisible, was built on foundations of sand? What if those whispers that have haunted your nights were never meant to define your days? Today, I bring you a reflection so powerful it can transform the very way you see yourself in the mirror of existence. There are 9 profound lies that have been planted in your heart by a world that never truly knew you. 9 deceptions that have stolen your peace, dimmed your light, and made you question your place in God's magnificent plan. But today, right here, right now, we're going to replace each lie with the divine truth that the universe has been waiting for you to embrace. 1. Lie No. 1. You're too old to matter. God says, "You are the roots of my people." My friend, has the world ever made you feel like your season of significance has passed? Like somehow, as the lines on your face deepened with wisdom, your value mysteriously diminished? This is perhaps the cruelest lie of our modern age, that a woman's worth fades with her youth. The universe knows better. In nature, what is oldest is most revered. The ancient redwood, the weathered mountain, the river that has carved its path through centuries. Why should it be any different with you? When you look at your hands and see the years written there, remember what Pope Francis declared with such conviction. The elderly are not the past. They are the living roots of the people. You aren't outdated, my dear friend. You are the foundation upon which everything that matters truly stands. The world may worship at the altar of youth, but God celebrates the sacred wisdom that only time can bestow. Every line on your face is a story of survival. Every grey hair is a badge of endurance. You have weathered storms that would have broken those who haven't lived long enough to develop your strength. Consider the olive tree. It doesn't bear its richest fruit until it has stood against the elements for decades. Its roots grow deeper with each passing year, anchoring it more firmly to the earth. That is you, not fading, but becoming more essential with every rotation around the sun. When you feel invisible in a culture that looks past you, remember that God sees not with human eyes, but with divine vision. To Him, you are not diminished by time. You are completed by it. You are not less valuable. You are invaluable in ways only wisdom can cultivate. What would our families be without your stories? What would our communities be without your perspective? You carry memories that must not die with the passing of generations. You hold lessons that cannot be Googled, but must be shared from heart to heart, soul to soul. The universe doesn't discard what is aged, it treasures it. The stars that shine, brightest have burned the longest. The diamonds that sparkle most brilliantly have been pressed the hardest. You, my dear friend, are not too old to matter. You matter more now than ever before. 2. Lie number 2. Your mistakes define you. God says, "My mercy is bigger than your past." How many times have they reminded you of what you did wrong? How often have you lain awake replaying that moment, that decision, that choice you would give anything to unmake? The world has a terrible memory for your victories, but perfect recall for your failings. But Pope Francis reminds us of a truth, so beautiful it can make the hardest heart weep. God never tires of forgiving us. The universe itself operates on principles of renewal. Seasons change, flowers bloom again after winter's death, and the moon waxes full after disappearing entirely. You are not your mistake. You are not the worst thing you've ever done. You are the daughter who has found her way home, and in the Father's eyes, your return is cause for celebration, not condemnation. The universe understands that transformation requires breaking and remaking. The butterfly cannot emerge without the dissolution of the caterpillar. The pearl cannot form without the irritation of sand. Your mistakes were never meant to be your epitaph. They were always meant to be the soil from which your most authentic self would grow. When shame whispers your failures in the darkness, remember that God's mercy dawns new with every morning. The same hands that formed the mountains and cradled the oceans hold your heart with tender understanding. There is no pit so deep that divine love cannot reach down and lift you out. For I will forgive their wickedness and will remember their sins no more, says Jeremiah 31:34. Imagine that, the creator of the universe choosing to forget what you cannot stop remembering. That is the magnitude of mercy available to you. You walked through fire, and yes, perhaps you were burned. But look at your scars now. They have become maps of resilience, testaments to survival, proof that you can walk through hell and still emerge with your soul intact. The universe doesn't see damaged goods when it looks at you. It sees a masterpiece of redemption. My friend, what if today were the day you finally put down the burden of your past? What if today were the day you accepted that grace that has been waiting patiently for you all along? You are not what happened to you. You are not what you did when you didn't know better. You are becoming, always becoming. And that journey is sacred. 3. Lie them to 3. If you're not productive, you're not valuable. God says, you are loved for who you are, not what you do. Dear friend, in this relentless world of productivity metrics and achievement benchmarks, have you ever felt like your worth was being calculated by an invisible spreadsheet of accomplishments, as if somehow your value as a human being could be reduced to outputs and contributions? Society measures worth by results, by promotions earned and goals achieved, by how early you rise and how late you work, by the size of your impact and the scope of your influence. But the universe operates by an entirely different economy of value. God measures by presence, by compassion, by the depth of your soul, not the length of your resume. You don't need to prove anything to deserve love. Your existence itself is the miracle that warranted the creation of stars. Think of the lilies of the field, how they neither toil nor spin, yet even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. The flower doesn't strive to justify its place in the garden. It simply blooms where it is planted, and that is enough. Brothers and sisters, may the peace of God be with you. If you're enjoying this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Your opinion is sacred to me, as it helps me continue this mission of spreading light, faith, and hope. The universe doesn't ask the moon to be more productive in its shining. It doesn't demand that the oak tree grow faster or that the river flow with greater efficiency. There is a sacred rhythm to existence that honors being just as much as doing. When illness slows you down, when age limits what you can accomplish, when circumstances beyond your control reduce your productivity to a fraction of what it once was, your value does not diminish by even the smallest measure, not in God's eyes. Pope Francis reminds us, human dignity itself is a gift of God and is not linked to what a person does, but to what a person is. You were precious before you took your first breath. You will be treasured long after your last. The space between is not a performance evaluation, but a journey of becoming. Rest, when you need it, is not laziness, but wisdom. Boundaries are not selfishness, but stewardship of the sacred vessel that carries your soul. Saying no to what depletes you can be the most holy yes to what God actually called you to be. My friend, what if the most productive thing you could do today was simply to exist exactly as you are, without apology or explanation? What if your presence itself, your laughter, your tears, your particular way of seeing the world, was the gift the universe has been waiting for you to unwrap? 4. Lie. 4. You're alone in this battle. God says, I walk with you in silence. Have you ever felt that crushing weight of isolation? That moment when you look around and it seems like everyone else has someone to lean on, someone who understands, while you walk your path in solitary steps. The world can be terribly loud and yet somehow terribly empty at the same time. But, my dear friend, Pope Francis reminds us of a truth so profound, it can change everything. The silence of God is never absence. It is accompaniment. He is there, even when no one else is. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua 1-9 speaks this promise across centuries, directly to your heart today. The universe understands loneliness. Even in its vast expanse of stars and planets, each celestial body maintains its own orbit, its own solitary journey through the cosmos. Yet none is truly alone. Invisible forces connect them. Unseen gravitational pulls unite them in a cosmic dance. So it is with you. When the diagnosis comes and the room empties. When the grief is too raw for others to bear witness to. When your particular pain makes people uncomfortable, so they step back instead of leaning in. In those moments of excruciating aloneness, divine presence draws closest. Remember the footprints in the sand. There's profound truth in that simple story. When you see only one set of footprints, it is then that you are being carried. The universe never abandons its beloved children, especially not in their darkest hours. I know a woman named Helena, who in 1967 lost her husband and was left to raise 5 children alone. I would stand in my kitchen at night after the children were asleep, she told me, and I would feel so alone. I thought I might shatter into 1,000 pieces. But then, in that silence, I began to sense a presence, not with my eyes, but with my heart. I wasn't alone after all. I was being held. That knowledge gave me the strength to face each new day. Helena's story is your story, too, my friend. The apparent absence of God is often the very space in which His presence is most powerfully at work, reshaping you, strengthening you, preparing you for what lies ahead. The universe honors your struggle by never leaving you to face it alone. The same hands that set the stars in motion are cupped gently around your breaking heart. You may feel isolated, but you are infinitely accompanied. 5. Loudest 5. No one sees you anymore. God says, I still call you by name. My friend, there is a particular kind of pain that comes from feeling invisible. When the mirror changes, when children grow and build lives that orbit farther from yours, when friends drift away or become consumed with their own concerns. There's that haunting question, does anyone truly see me anymore? The world's attention is fickle and fleeting. Society's gaze passes quickly over those who don't demand notice. But God continues saying, you are mine, and I have known you from the beginning. You have never been forgotten. The universe keeps perfect account of every soul it contains. Just as no star blinks out of existence without cosmic notice, no tear falls from your eye unwitnessed. You have counted my wanderings, put my tears into your bottle. Are they not in your book? Psalm 56:8 reminds us of this intimate divine accounting. When your contributions go unacknowledged, when your wisdom goes unconsulted, when your presence goes unremarked, remember that the Creator of all things sees you with perfect clarity and unwavering attention. God doesn't need you to shout for recognition or perform for approval. Your very breath is a prayer He hears. The world may overlook the aging woman, but the universe celebrates her ripening wisdom. Society may turn its gaze toward newer, younger faces, but God's eyes never waver from yours. You are not becoming invisible. You are becoming more essentially yourself. Stripped of pretense and performance, revealed in your most authentic form. Think of the ancient redwoods. Much of their most important existence happens underground, in vast root systems invisible to casual observers. Yet without those hidden networks, the magnificent visible trees could not stand. Your unseen contributions, your prayers, your love, your quiet acts of service, form the essential root system of our human family. The universe honors what is hidden. The most precious gems form in darkness, under pressure, far from admiring eyes. The most powerful forces in nature, gravity, magnetism, love, cannot be seen, only felt in their effects. So it is with your deepest value. My dear friend, what if being seen by human eyes was never the point? What if your true audience has always been divine? What if the universe itself witnesses your quiet courage with awe and celebration? You have never been invisible to the eyes that matter most. 6. Lie number 6. You're not strong enough. God says, you were chosen for this battle. The tears that have soaked your pillow. The pain in your knees from hours of prayer. The sleepless nights when worry circled like wolves at your door. The world looks at these moments and mistakes vulnerability for weakness. But Pope Francis teaches us that you don't need to shout to be a warrior. You fight in silence, and the entire heaven calls you strong. The universe understands a profound truth that human eyes often miss. True strength rarely announces itself with fanfare. It doesn't flex or boast. Real power lies in endurance, in getting up one more time than you fall, in choosing hope when despair would be easier. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, Philippians 4:13 reminds us. Notice, it doesn't say some things or easy things, all things. This battle you're facing, this mountain that seems insurmountable, this load that feels unbearable, you were chosen for it precisely because the divine knew you had the capacity to carry it. Not because God wishes you to suffer, but because your particular strength, your unique heart, your special wisdom is exactly what this situation requires. The universe doesn't make casting errors. You are the right soul, in the right place, at the right time. There's a special kind of strength in feminine resilience. Not the loud, aggressive force that the world often celebrates, but the quiet, persistent power that reshapes reality through consistent presence. Like water wearing away stone, not through violence, but through faithful persistence. That is your strength. When doubt creeps in and whispers that you cannot face what lies ahead, remember how far you've already come. Count the battles already won, the storms already weathered, the nights you thought would never end but somehow found morning. You have been building spiritual muscle all along, preparing for this very moment. The universe recognizes that the strongest trees grow not in sheltered gardens, but on windswept hills, where they must develop deep roots and flexible branches. Every challenge you've faced has been developing in you exactly the strength required for what lies ahead. My friend, what if your perceived weakness is actually your greatest power? What if your sensitivity, your empathy, your deep-feeling heart that sometimes seems too fragile for this harsh world is actually your superpower? The universe needs both lions and doves to maintain its balance. Your gentle strength changes the world in ways that force never could. 7. The world pushes you to rush. God invites you to rest. God says, in quietness and trust is your strength. Dear friend, have you noticed how everything in this modern world screams for speed? Faster responses, quicker results, instant gratification, the constant pressure to hurry, to accomplish more in less time, to never waste a moment, as if somehow, by moving quickly enough, we might outrun our own mortality. But while everything demands haste, God offers pause. Pope Francis speaks beautifully about the beauty of time that respects the rhythm of the soul. You don't need to run. You need to breathe and trust. The universe itself models this divine patience. Galaxies form over billions of years. Redwoods grow just a few inches annually for millennia. Diamonds take eons of pressure to crystallize into brilliance. Nothing of true value happens in a hurry. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10 invites us. That stillness isn't laziness or luxury. It's necessity. It's the sacred space where your soul can finally catch up with your body, where wisdom can whisper louder than urgency, where perspective can replace panic. I'm so happy to have you here with me. If this message is touching your heart and you're still here with me, type 2 in the comments. That way I'll know you're walking this path of faith, seeking growth, reflection, and wisdom, as Pope Francis taught us. The world sells the lie that your worth is tied to your productivity, that rest is a weakness you cannot afford. But the universe knows better. Even God rested on the seventh day, not from exhaustion, but to establish a divine rhythm that honors both creation and restoration. When you give yourself permission to slow down, to step off the treadmill of constant doing, you aren't falling behind. You're falling into alignment with your truest nature. You're creating space for the divine to speak in whispers rather than having to shout above the noise of perpetual activity. Think of how a field must occasionally lie fallow to restore its nutrients. Consider how winter's apparent death is actually preparation for spring's abundance. Your seasons of rest aren't interruptions to your purpose. They are essential components of it. The universe operates in cycles, not in straight lines of constant production. Tides ebb and flow. Moons wax and wane, seasons come and go. Your energy, your creativity, your capacity for giving, all were designed to work in sacred rhythms of engagement and withdrawal, output and renewal. My friend, what if your exhaustion is not a sign of failure, but a loving invitation? What if God is using your very limits to draw you back into balance, to remind you that you are a human being, not a human doing? In a world that never stops, choosing to pause is perhaps the most countercultural and the most holy decision you can make. 8. The world labels you. God redefines you. God says, I have called you by name. You are mine. Widow. Forgotten. Old. Too sensitive. Too emotional. Too much. Not enough. The world is quick to assign these reductive labels, to flatten the magnificent complexity of your being into convenient categories that make you easier to dismiss. But God doesn't call you by these names. He calls you beloved, essential, irreplaceable. Pope Francis reminds us, for God, you are face, heart, and soul. Not a demographic, not a statistic, not a burden or an afterthought. A cherished creation with unique purpose. The universe celebrates specificity. No two snowflakes identical, no two fingerprints the same, no two sunset skies painted with exactly the same palette of colors. Why would the divine take such care to make each element of creation unique, only to have human society reduce you to stereotypes and assumptions? But now, this is what the Lord says. He who created you, Jacob, he who formed you, Israel. Do not fear, for I have redeemed you. I have summoned you by name. You are mine. Isaiah 43. One speaks this truth across centuries. God knows your name, not your label. When the world tries to tell you who you are based on your age, your marital status, your productivity, or your past, remember that none of these definitions originated with your creator. Like a master artist insulted by poor reviews of his masterpiece, God rejects these limited interpretations of his cherished creation. The universe understands that true identity can never be captured in a single word or phrase. You contain multitudes, layers of experience, gifts, wounds transformed to wisdom, love given and received, prayers whispered in darkness, hopes carried despite disappointment, faith maintained through doubt. This rich tapestry of being cannot be reduced to simple labels. What freedom there is in releasing the identities others have assigned to you. What liberation in remembering that the only naming that truly matters comes from divine lips that formed the cosmos, yet whisper your name with tender specificity. My friend, what if today were the day you peeled off every label that has ever been stuck to your soul? What if you stood naked before the universe, allowing yourself to be reclothed in the identity God assigned you from the beginning? Beloved, daughter, image bearer, inheritor, co-creator. What if your too much was exactly enough and your not enough was perfectly sufficient? 9. The world rewards noise. God honors. Quiet faith. God says, the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these. In a culture of constant self-promotion, where value seems directly proportional to visibility, there's something revolutionary about choosing hiddenness. The world applauds those who appear, on screens, on stages, in spotlights. But God rewards those who serve in silence, who pray in darkness, who love without an audience. Your discreet faith is greatness to Him. The universe has always valued what happens in hiddenness. The most profound transformations occur underground, underwater, inside cocoons, away from watchful eyes. Seeds crack open in dark soil. Babies form in hidden wombs. Pearls develop within the closed shells of oysters. The most valuable processes require protection from exposure. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. Matthew 6:6 affirms this sacred principle. Divine economy operates in inverse proportion to human celebrity. What is most seen by God is often least visible to the world. Pope Francis consistently elevates the dignity of humble service over spectacular display. The saints he most frequently cites are not those who performed grand miracles before adoring crowds, but those who loved faithfully in small spaces, the mother caring for a disabled child, the neighbor sharing bread during famine, the friend maintaining vigil beside a deathbed. The world wants you to believe that if your contributions aren't photographed, published, or publicly praised, they somehow matter less. But the universe knows better. The oxygen that keeps you alive is invisible. The gravitational force that holds planets in their orbits cannot be seen. The prayers of the faithful rise like incense before the throne of God, powerful beyond measure, yet imperceptible to human senses. Your quiet acts of mercy, the extra patience shown to a difficult person, the forgiveness extended when justified resentment would be easier, the generosity offered without recognition, the faithful prayers for those who have forgotten you, these form the hidden architecture that upholds our broken world. The universe honors this hiddenness. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7 reminds us that divine vision penetrates beyond surface and spectacle to the truth of who we are and what we do when no one else is watching. My dear friend, what if the moments that matter most in your life are not the ones that would impress others or accumulate likes on social media? What if your greatest contributions to the cosmic story are known only to God? There is profound freedom in this truth. Freedom from the exhausting demands of performance and the insatiable hunger for validation. Have you ever felt that the world has tried to diminish your worth through these lies? That somehow your value decreased with age, or that your mistakes defined you forever? Have you felt the weight of these deceptions in your own heart? Share your experience in the comments. I want to hear your story. My friend, today, we've uncovered 9 powerful lies that may have shaped your view of yourself, your worth, and your place in God's magnificent plan. But more importantly, we've replaced each deception with the divine truth that can heal and transform your heart. Remember that you are not defined by your age, but celebrated for the wisdom it brings. Your mistakes are not your identity. They are simply part of your journey home. Your worth was never tied to your productivity, but established by divine love before you took your first breath. You have never been alone in your struggles, even when human companionship failed. You remain fully seen and known by the one who counts every hair on your head. The strength you need for every battle has already been deposited within you by the same power that raised Christ from the dead. The universe invites you to rest within divine rhythms rather than chase the world's relentless pace. You are not the labels others have assigned to you, but the beloved identity God established from the foundation of the world. And your quiet, faithful service in hiddenness carries more weight in eternity than all the world's applause. By embracing these truths, dear friend, you open yourself to a life of greater purpose, deeper peace, and more authentic joy. These are not merely comforting thoughts, but transformative realities that can reshape how you move through each day. As Pope Francis might compassionately teach, this wisdom leads not only to improved well-being on earth, but to a strengthened soul, inner freedom, and a connection to God that brings fulfillment no worldly success could ever offer. I encourage you to share this message with someone whose spirit might be crushed under the weight of these worldly lies. Perhaps a friend who feels invisible, a sister who believes her time of significance has passed, or a daughter struggling, to believe her worth extends beyond her achievements. Let this light spread further. May God bless you. Type Amen in the comments so I know you stayed with me until the end. Subscribe now and turn on the notification bell. That way you'll never miss a new heart-touching message. I'll see you in the next video.